Welcome into Varsity Vibe, presented to you for. Welcome in to Varsity Vibe. I'm your host, Alyssa Orange. It is great to be with you with another fun conversation to share. And this time, I sat down with Farmington Softball head coach Jason Shirey. You know, getting into softball sometimes as coaches is always an interesting conversation. And for Coach Shirey, it was because of his baseball background that led him over to the softball diamond, and he's been there ever since. Back in 2021, after Randy Osnes decided to step down as Farmington's head coach, it gave Jason Shirey an opportunity to get back into the game. And since then, he has helped get the Lady Cardinals back on top, including winning their 5th state championship in the sport of softball. I sit down with Coach Shirey and talk about that exciting game against Benton, as well as where he sees this program continuing to grow and the sport overall continuing to grow as well. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Farmington Softball head coach Jason Shirey. You know, congratulations first and foremost on the state championship. So let's start our conversation there. Looking back to that game in May, how much have you been able to reflect on that win and how that game ended against Benton?
It was almost out of a Hollywood script, I do think, just in terms of expectations for us. And then as the game progressed, I do remember telling Coach Clark on our way from batting practice that I just wanted a chance in the last inning. Just get us to the last inning with a chance to do something. And, a senior, Chloe Thomas, gets a big hit. The girl that runs for is going to score from first base. And then Piper Gardenhire with just a tremendous at bat. At that point, we were either going to get thrown out at home plate or we are going to score. So everything came together at the right time. So kids played well. I was just extremely happy for him.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, everything kind of coming together. You end the season on that 7-game win streak. But this was a team that also fought through some adversity. And so for it to all kind of come together with that trophy at the end, just very rewarding for that 26 squad.
It is. It's a reflection of all the hard work that was put in. And there was a tremendous number of obstacles that we overcame. I do remember starting in October, we really thought we had the makings or the pieces to have a really good team. And we told the kids once a month that it wouldn't be personal, but just know that we had enough depth that if something happened, if somebody was sick, and it happened multiple times. And then one of our pitchers got hurt too, and wasn't able to come back from injuries. So 21 kids all pulling in the same direction, and good things happen.
The 5th state championship for the program. That's got to be really exciting and rewarding for you as you kind of took over a handful of years ago after getting out of the coaching ranks. What's it been like to kind of feel rejuvenated at Farmington?
It's a fun feeling. I've also had the opportunity to coach my daughters each of these 5 years. Exception of last year. So 4 of the 5 years I've had my kids on the team. But Coach Osnes did a great job of establishing a standard, state championships, kind of the expectation, in a community that rallies around not just softball, but basketball, all the sports. And it's fun to be a part of. It's also a challenge, just knowing what the expectations are.
Mm-hmm. When you look at those expectations, when you took over the program and you mentioned Coach Osnes who stepped down and then ended up taking over at Harbor and has retired again. What did you want to do with the program walking into what you were left with what he was able to do?
It's difficult to say. First and foremost, don't screw anything up. There was a great group of kids there. I think we had like 9, what would eventually become 9 seniors. So it was a younger group, but it was a very good group. Very large shoes to fill, but a great friend. So wanting to make him happy, also knowing that the way he left in terms of retirement, that things were going to be in good hands and that we were still going to continue to represent the school and the community the way that he did and the way that he would want to.
Let's talk back to your history in coaching. We'll take a step back over to Fayetteville. So you're over at Fayetteville and you have an opportunity to coach over there. You were at the University of Arkansas as well as an assistant. So getting into softball, what was it about the sport that really you fell in love with as a former baseball player?
My history with softball started in Louisiana.
Yeah.
A tremendous softball team there. It's now Louisiana Lafayette, but back in the day, it was Southwestern Louisiana. I had just finished playing, and it was a little bit of a struggle still watching my friends playing baseball. The softball field wasn't too far away, so I just kind of got to where I just walk over there and watch softball. And the head coach noticed me sitting in the bleachers, and when Patrick Murphy, the head coach at Alabama, left, she asked if I was interested in maybe becoming an assistant coach there. So it was kind of one of those divine providence things, maybe. But what grew out of me not wanting to watch baseball because I still wanted to be playing, but I found something that was pretty close to it, and they were really good too. So once I got hooked, it's hard for me I love baseball, but fast pitch softball is pretty cool.
Yeah. So you get the opportunity to come to Arkansas. I think, what is it, 2 years after that program started? What was it like trying to build a program or
Yes,
so?
it would have been 2.
Yeah.
The first year was just recruiting and stuff, and they had 1 year that they'd played. So I got here the second year of on the field play at the U of A.
Yeah. So what was that? What was that like trying to help start a program?
One of those things where maybe my youth and inexperience didn't help much, because I thought I'd been to 2 College World Series. I just thought that's just the way it was supposed to be, and that's the way it was. But obviously, getting into the sport as it was beginning to really expand and grow, you're talking SEC, Big 12, all those guys getting after it. There were some growing pains there, but extremely proud of my part in being able to, help the team get to that first NCAA regional. It's been extremely fun to watch the growth of the program. I know there have been some ups and downs, but seeing what Coach Deifel's been able to accomplish and basically opening that door, and hopefully there's many more opportunities to get back to Oklahoma City for them.
How do you think those experiences at Louisiana Lafayette and at Arkansas helped you as a coach grow to be able to coach in high school like you have?
In some ways, it was a little not the norm. I was able to start out going to a College World Series. I started out at the top of the ladder just in terms of competitiveness on the field. Now, don't get me wrong. College has its moments. High school, I do think we have a greater impact on the high school student. We will see them for 4 years. We will get to help them through some of the most influential times in their lives. And the college game has definitely changed. Don't get me wrong. The athleticism and the ability is off the charts. But just the movement, I don't want to call it loyalty, but the ability for kids to pick up and leave after a year or 2, I think that takes some of the relationship building out of it and the loyalty to a program. And hopefully if we do our part at the high school, we're going to see a kid for 4 years through the good times and through the bad times. But when, like for instance, this year we get to finish with the state championship. There's only 6 teams that got to do that, and thousands of kids that didn't get to experience that. So the ability to share that with them and hopefully create memories that they'll always have. That's a huge encouragement to me.
Yeah. And on that note, how rewarding is it for you as a coach to watch these girls develop in your program from when they're freshmen to when they're seniors and watch that growth in such a pivotal time in their life?
It's rewarding. And it's like anything. You don't always get to see it immediately. There are moments when I know that they don't like me and they don't like the process. I know the same thing is true of parents. But my hope is that at the end of it, they'll be able to look back and say, wow, okay, now I understand. And I tell them at some point when some city league or travel organization says we need coaches, that they're not going to be afraid of that, that they will have been coached and taught the right way, and they're willing to step in and do that, knowing that, everything that's been done to that point has prepared them for that moment. And that's my hope as a coach. I know our coaches, Coach Clark and Coach Collins, that's what we want. And some days are better than others, but hopefully at the end of it, they're able to look back and see that everything that was done prepared them for not just life, but maybe being a mom or a job, and all of that through competition.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously building the whole person and not just the softball player, which I know is really important to you. And I'm sure you've got plenty of examples of former players that have expressed that kind of gratitude throughout the years. But how have you seen, as we talk about the high school ranks still, the game grow and the talent grow specifically in Northwest Arkansas?
It's real easy. I mean, you can look at where all these kids are going off to college. I remember when I first came to Arkansas, there wasn't any, just in terms of, it was just starting, trying to play catch up. Oklahoma was sort of in that same boat as well. But as the sport has grown, as the University of Arkansas has gotten better, as television has played into it, these kids get to see some great athletes doing amazing things. And they want to be like those people that they see on TV. It wasn't too long ago that the University of Arkansas had free admission to softball games. And now you can't find a spot. And when you do go, you see a bunch of little kids running around out there, girls playing catch. They're in their uniforms. That's an encouragement to me. I would also think that it's probably a reminder to those kids that are playing there that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of eyes on them. And they have the ability to shape some futures as well.
You mentioned being able to coach your daughter, so maybe take off the coach hat and throw on the dad hat. How fun is that to have that balance and to be able to have that relationship with them through the game of softball?
Obviously, moments that can't be forgotten, can't be overlooked either. My oldest Reese, she's just her own little spirit person. But as a parent, obviously getting the opportunity to see them be successful is very rewarding. Knowing that they've put in a lot of hard work. It's hard not to get emotional, and that has happened a few times. Just maybe not when everybody's around, but in one of these days when they're finished, hopefully I can be able to express to them just how much it meant to be their coach, but to know how much they've had an impact on me as a dad too.
Sure. As you look ahead with Farmington Softball, trying to just reset and look to 2027, right? I know you have travel ball and all those things, but next thing you know, you're getting ready to build that roster and get going for next year. How do you reevaluate every year? Do you kind of look back and reflect? What is your process as you end a season and then get to the next one?
Without giving away too many secrets.
Sure. That's right.
No. I already had a tab going on the 27 roster. Some of that was because the counselors wanted to know who was going to be on the team for next year. And we hadn't even finished this year. But we do find that obviously the more successful we are, we've got a bunch of upcoming freshmen that want to be a part of that. So we had tryouts. We've got people that move into the district over the summer, whether it be a job or transferring. So the idea of putting all that together, it never stops. May 23rd was the date of the championship game. And I think by May 25th, we were already drawing up depth charts for next year. but everybody is now.
Yeah.
It's gotten so competitive that we're even getting phone calls about scheduling because everybody wants to play. As iron sharpens iron, kind of a deal, and people want to see what you got. So we're not going to sneak up on anybody. And if anything, we've kind of put a target on ourselves as to, everybody wants to knock off the champion at that point. But I think we'll be not necessarily focused on anything other than ourselves, which we were able to do a good job of that this year. We just kind of kept our heads down and just did what we were supposed to do, and that's what we'll try and do again. We've got a good older good group of seniors and juniors, and hopefully they provide that leadership that we need with the younger classes. So I'm looking forward to it. And just as soon as I say the first game's going to be in March, it'll be here. So it's going to be busy no matter what.
Well, congratulations on that championship. I know that was an exciting trophy to bring back home to Farmington.
It was. So happy for everybody involved. Farmington's come to become a title town in Northwest Arkansas with everything that's happening. If you think about it in terms of sports programs, our girls basketball team won championship. Our girls volleyball team was in, runners up. And we were able to bring home a championship. So, 3 completely different sports. We do have some, crossover athletes, but just tremendous depth in an athletic department. So it's fun to watch. And all these kids, they know what it's like to win and what it takes to win.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of Varsity Vibe. Really hope you enjoyed that conversation with Coach Jason Shirey. And if you did, I encourage you to listen back to some of the other conversations that we have had with coaches and athletes. It was such a fun athletic calendar last year to get to know a lot of these coaches and athletes from around the state. So if you missed any of those conversations, go check them out. You can find them on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, remember to like and subscribe. And speaking of, remember to like us on social media. That is Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok, as well as sign up for the newsletter at varsityvibearkansas.com. That comes to your inbox twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, keeping you in the know with everything you need with high school athletics around the state. Once again, I'm your host, Alyssa Orange. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.